Hi, Alice. I wanted to leave you some feedback on your week one writing assignment. First off, your formatting looks great. Your header and heading are very professional. As a whole, I really like what you're doing in this assignment. You really went above and beyond in terms of forming clear claims and bringing in evidence to support them. So I like where you're taking this draft, and I think that this could potentially work as I don't know, like a working draft for essay one, which is one of the things that I read for in these weekly writing assignments. Let's just talk about some places here and there to keep in mind for clarifying your ideas. So first off, good work in bringing in the signal phrase, creating clear context for the audience. Just a few things to keep in mind when you format your title. Make sure that all the main words in the title are all capitalized. Excuse me, the first letter of the main words. I need to clarify there. So the H in hanging should also be capitalized. Second, when you introduce an author into your paper for the first time, you want to state their full name. So in this case, your signal phrase should read "In a Hanging" by George Orwell. Okay, the first time you introduce him, say his first name as well. But any other time after that you state the author's name, it's perfectly acceptable to refer to the author by his last name. So every other place where you do it in the paper, you do it perfectly. It's just that first time that you want to include the author's name. So I like the opening sentence of your summary. It's the last part where I feel a little confused. So you say the author makes a point that capital punishment is cruel and unreasonable, while other jailers believe it is normal during that time. So during that time is a vague phrase that I'm not, as your reader, I'm not entirely sure what you mean what you mean by that. On the one hand, I think you mean the time meaning during the actual hanging in the story, but this also might refer to the historical time period where the story took place. And quite honestly, I'm not sure. So I think going back and editing for vague phrases and vague language is always a good thing to do as a writer. So in this particular spot, I think you need to clarify. So just another sentence or two would help clarify what you mean here. I really like that you're pointing out the literary devices that the author uses to make his point. I think that that's a great idea to work with from Essay 1, and that's essentially one of the things that we will be doing. You have a pretty good claim here. You said Orwell uses simile to show the wrongness of capital punishment. I can tell exactly what you're doing there. And then you bring in evidence here to support that idea. That's really good movement. However, I think there's a small gap in the logic. So what's going on is you make this claim and then you follow it with this piece of evidence. It was like men handling a fish which is still alive and may jump back into the water. So the it in this sentence, the word it, in the story, it refers to the way that the jailers have their hands on the hangman, right? It refers to the grip that they have on his body when they take him from the jail to the gallows. But the way that these two ideas follow each other in your sentences, capital punishment and it, seems to suggest that the it in the direct quotation refers to capital punishment, but it doesn't, right? So what it seems like is you have a small gap in logic here. In other words, you just need to create another sentence or two that creates the context for the evidence that you bring in for support, right? So you just have some tiny gaps here and there in logic, and that's a pretty normal thing to have in a rough draft. Your second section, talking about the use of tense and applying that to this evidence and your explanation of that works really well. I think that this is a really good working claim that you could potentially use for a thesis statement in essay one, should you choose to write about Orwell. I think the only thing that you're really missing here is a clear position in the claim, meaning we need to know your position on Orwell's use of simile and tense, meaning Do you think that those literary devices are effective for his purpose, and why? So in other words, are the similes and the tense used, are they persuasive? And if so, why? For whom? And if not, why? Does that make sense? I think that this is an idea to work off of for that paper. So all in all, fantastic work.